Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I'm answering a Dear Ruth Theresa question. So the question today is, Dear Ruth Theresa, how do I know that I'm worrying too much or I'm taking too much time to worry? It's a very important question, and I'll guarantee you I have my doctorate in worrying because growing up I worried and doubts and anxiety constantly. But some of those are really normal too. When you have worries, when you have doubts, when you have anxiety, part of that is part of normal life, just living a human existence. Yet at the same time, if you're doing it constantly, that's a big no-no. That's when it starts affecting other things. It can be overwhelming. It can constantly keep you in a negative mindset. It's always that worst case scenario over worst case scenario over worst case scenario, and that can get really tiring for your whole energy and your body as well. When your worrying is affecting your health. Growing up, I always had a sour stomach, is what they used to call it, or an acid stomach. I literally worried so much all the time about every little cotton picking little thing. I literally always had a sour stomach. And to this day, it's one of those, if my stomach gets too acid, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go again. And so I have to calm myself down again and to go, no, I've learned how to deal with this. So I'm going to teach you how to deal with some of this. Some of the things that when you're worrying, it can keep you up at night, or it makes you restless. So instead of being able to relax and take it easy or enjoy watching a movie, you're still in that anxiety state. And so your mind is still playing that mind game on you of like, you haven't fixed it, it's not healed, it's not working, it's over and over and over and over again. And that can be really harsh to your system, and it really never gives you a break. It really just never calms anything down. You think it does, but it really doesn't. So overthinking can be kind of like a sign. If it's always on your mind, that's when you know that it's not a good thing. I will tell you a little secret. About 25, 26 years ago, I was reading a book, and there was a chapter in the book about worrying. And I wish I could remember who wrote the book and where I put it, because I would love to reread this out of the book for you. But they were talking about is when you are worrying over something, literally you're praying for what you don't want. And that statement stopped me cold, like, oh my gosh, what the heck am I doing? Where am I going with my life? If this is what I don't want in my life, why am I pushing energy in this area? So it was kind of like let's flip to a different angle. Let's go to a different side. And so it was hard for me at first to learn how to stop worrying about something. It was kind of like this cold stop, like from 100 miles an hour to zero. Boom. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do else with my mind. My mind was like, I'm always worrying. And now you're telling me not to worry. And now I'm worried about not worrying. And it just kind of flabbergasted things. So one of the most important things to do is really think about kind of changing your energy in worrying, like giving yourself a period of time to worry or a freak out time. So that's kind of my tip number one, is create a time for you to worry about something. And now granted, I worried 365 days a year, and I worried constantly, and that didn't help. So I started to kind of like at first, like, okay, let's just cut that down to a week. And that helped a little bit, but I was like, can we cut it down even more? So now let me cut it down to 5 days or 4 days and 3 days and 2 days. And then I started to realize really giving myself a very limited amount of time to worry was best. So I literally went down to, if the longest I would ever give myself is an hour, the shortest I would do is like 10 to 15 minutes. And when I did that and made that decision, it was like, okay, now I have 10 minutes to freak out and do worst case scenario, kind of like go down that rabbit hole, like here. If this all happens, this is going to go wrong and this is going to happen and whatever it is, the world's going to come to an end. And then I start realizing, like, really, if you don't make your house payment on time, like, things could go wrong, but the world's not going to end. So let's back up that energy a little bit and kind of think about it in a different way. So I started giving myself more limited time spaces. And then I also kind of eventually learned, so tip number 2 is don't do this close to bedtime. Do this earlier in the day, even if you have to put those worries on hold, kind of on simmer on the back burner for a little bit, and go to bed and worry about it in the morning. So get up in the morning. At latest, I'll worry about something in the afternoon, and I very rarely worry now. Back then, I worried all the time. Now I barely worry. So that made it a little bit easier of kind of like choosing a time, not close to bedtime, not the last 2 or 3 hours before I go to bed, but kind of giving myself a time span to do the worrying. And then the other one is spending the time, like, I'm going to schedule this, worry about whatever during this time frame. And that made things a lot easier. So tip kind of number 3 is write down your worries. When you write them down, it really changes the way you look at them, and literally write them as if they're your issues. Okay. So I am concerned I may not make my car payment on time. That's my concern. So how can I modify this and make it easier? I can say, I love when I make my car payment on time, or I would choose to always make my car payment on time, or I love when everything works out and my car payment is made on time. All much easier. And they're not even really saying I'm making the payment now. What it's saying is I'm choosing to make this easier. But I'm also not lying. I love when things are paid on time, but I'm not like so panicked about it. Like I need to send in my payment at 3:59 on day. It's over worrying. You're kind of like putting too much energy into it again. So kind of giving yourself time to write it down and really kind of, how can I reword this to make this easier on me? How can I make this energy easier on me? One of the things that kind of some things to kind of do is when you write them down, I usually try to write them down on a dry erase board. And that makes it easier for me because then I have time. I'm usually standing up, which is a good thing. And I can walk around. So that's kind of one of those secret special tips kind of thing is write it down. And you can write it down on your mirror in your bathroom or, on a dry erase board or something like that. But do it where you can move around. If you're in motion, you are kind of naturally kind of releasing some of that anxiety and that sort of thing. So the more you put it where you can write it down, you're giving yourself that opportunity to relax. You're giving yourself that opportunity. Plus you can kind of wiggle around as you do it, that sort of thing. And that also helps release some of that anxiety or built up, pent up energy. So make sure that you're able to move around as you write about the things you're worrying about, and then upgrade your words. And you might want to walk around a couple more times as you're writing and upgrading your words. Writing things or changing things can be really, really great as you get up and move around during this time frame. And then restate what you really want. I would want my statement to be more like, I love when my bills are paid on time. I love when my house payment is made on time. I love when my car payment is made on time. That's a much easier energy than constantly. So it's something really important to take care of. One of the other things is kind of letting things go. My fifth kind of tip is, will my worry ever change my situation? And I will tell you the answer to that question is 99.999% of the time, it's not going to change it. You worrying about something isn't going to fix it. You being in motion about it, you being in action about it, that's going to change something. But you just sitting there worrying about it, it's not going to change a whole lot. So when you sit there and you worry and you worry and you worry and you worry, you're really not changing anything. And really the way you're communicating with your creator is telling them, this is what I want to worry about. I want to worry about not making this on time or not making enough money to make this payment or whatever it is. So you're kind of circling in this negative energy, stating it in a positive way. sends the positive message, not only to yourself, but to your creator as well. It's one of those, it just like, this makes life so much easier, so much easier. One of the things that will also help with worry and anxiety is really doing meditation. And y'all know how I feel about meditation. I love meditation, and it can heal so many things inside of you to have that energy of relaxation, to worry less about things, and kind of letting know that you are in the flow with your creator's energy and everything's going to come out okay. Let's pull a couple angel cards and let's see what information our angels are going to throw at us for worrying too much. The first one is self-acceptance. When you realize that you really are creator's child, it changes your attitude. And knowing that he's not going to let bad things happen to you unless that's what you want. Are you telling him that's what you want by your worry? Are you telling him over and over and over and over and over again that that's what you want? Change it. New beginnings. Worrying less and changing how you worry can be a brand new beginning. It was for me. It was literally a life changer for me. So much less anxiety, so much less doubt. Acid stomach, gone. Worrying about things, gone. Obsessively worrying about things, gone. So that made life so much easier and so much more manageable. And I guarantee you it changed my outlook on my life completely. It changed so many things. Friendships. It also changed my friendships as well. I started kind of being more friendly to myself instead of beating myself up constantly over, you screwed this up, you messed this up, you should have done this differently, you should have done that differently. That is one of those some harsh words that we say to ourselves all the time. So many times we say this. So many times we are just like, this is the hard part. This is what we don't want. And that's what we're telling ourselves over and over and over again, is to go down that rabbit hole in some bad energy. Meditation. Oh my gosh. You know, I love meditation, but meditation and relaxing your energy, meditation and knowing that your creator energy has you, that's a life changer. I guarantee you, when you start meditating and you meditate on a regular basis, your life around you will change, because it changes your attitude, your outlook. It changes your worries into passive energy of just, I know my creator energy has me. It changes so many things around you. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.